Hare Krishna. Today we are going to dive on the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, on the life and character of Kardama Muni. What it takes to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kardama Muni's dedication was so intense that the Supreme Personality of Godhead personally was so pleased. So the question is, can one serve the Lord despite having material conditionings and please the Supreme Lord? Is it possible? How is it possible? Kardama Muni is a Kardama Muni is an exemplary example of that. So Kardama Muni was worshipping the Supreme Lord, and he was able to see that his attraction for the Lord was growing. He was completely dependent on the Supreme Lord. He completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord. But at the same time, he was acknowledging that he has still material desires in his heart. So with whatever state he was in, he was taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. The Shastras say, Kama sarva kama, moksha kama bharata, tivrena bhakti yogena yajita purusham para. So Kardama Muni made his bhakti very tivra, intense. So he was not just wanting material desire to be fulfilled. It's not that he was worshipping the Supreme Lord just for material desire. He wanted Krishna also. He wanted to experience material desire for some time, but eventually, ultimately, completely, he wanted Krishna. So he has had both feelings. What was his material desire? He wanted to marry. That was his material desire. Srila Kardama Muni is worshipping the Supreme Lord so intensely taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. Now, this is very instructive here because we can see that uh, uh, how Kardama Muni has got now elevated to the platform of pure devotee and he attained to the perfection of pure devotion and service. Although he had conditioning, he wanted to marry. The point is, uh, because he didn't just wanted materialism, he wanted Krishna. The same is true in fourth canto we see with Dhruva Maharaj. With Dhruva Maharaj is not just having material desire, he had a material desire of having sovereignty greater than his great great grandfather. That material desire was there, the anguish of revenge was there. At the same time, he wanted love, which from his mother he understood Lord Vishnu can. So he wanted Krishna also. Now, in case of Dhruva Maharaj, as far as his desires are concerned, things were not sorted out. Lord Vishnu, by his touch, sorted it out. And Lord Vishnu finally gave him darshan. So Maharaj had all a mixture of desires, and he was not very clear. There was no much, so it was just a mixture. Whereas in case of Kardama Muni, we see because there is clarity. He didn't wanted to be obsessed about family life or married life, life after life, decade after decade. He just wanted to experience a bit. What he actually and majorly wanted was Krishna's shelter. So there was a lot of clarity in Kardama Muni's practice. But by this intense practice of Srila Kardama Muni, uh, he gets the darshan of Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is in front of him. Kardama Muni is answering wonderful prayers to the Supreme Lord. He's telling, "O Lord, you are filled with all goodness. You are the reservoir of all pleasure, all happiness. So just by having darshan of you, I have attained the perfection of my life." And he's telling, "Oh Lord, your lotus feet is like a suitable boat, taking shelter of which one can cross over the ocean of material existence." He's saying your lotus feet are like a suitable boat, so one can cross over the ocean of material existence. And he's saying that when one gets the darshan of your lotus feet, the opportunity to serve your lotus feet, that one should not desire or hanker for any material desire. But oh Lord, I worshipped you for a material desire that I wanted to marry a girl having a similar mindset of devotion. And for that reason, I have worshipped you. He's saying, "Oh Lord, you're the supreme director of everything. Everyone is like bound. Just like an animal is bound by ropes. Everyone is bound. And everyone is working under your direction." As if everyone is working to fulfill your desires directly or indirectly. The Kardama Muni is saying, "Oh Lord, I willingly want to submit myself. Nah, I want to be an instrument in fulfilling your desires, O Lord." He's telling that to get out of this entanglement of this material body, what is required is absorption into your holy glories. Just by hearing and just by remembering your holy glories, the nectar of your activities and pastime, one can get out of this material existence. He's saying that your wheel, your chakra, cuts off the lifespan of everyone, except the devotees. So here Srila Kardama Muni is expressing his heart and is taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. We see Kardama Muni is having material desire is acknowledging. Kardama Muni is having material desire, he's acknowledging that. He is, so in one sense, he is ashamed of having a material desire. At the same time, he wants to be completely dependent on the Supreme Lord. And what he ultimately wants is the shelter of the Supreme Lord. So Srila Kardama Muni is saying that although I want to marry you, Lord, I promise, first child, and done. It's done early life. This weed is there in my heart, very ashamed of it, but now I don't want to drag it for long. First child and done with it. And I'll proceed ahead and take sannyas. Completely dependent on you. So Kardama Muni offered this prayer to the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord became very pleased. The Lord said, I will arrange for your marriage. The Lord said, day after tomorrow, Swayambhuva Manu is going to come along with his good wife and daughter. And he will offer his daughter in marriage in hand, and now his daughter's hand in marriage to you. It is explained that Lord Vishnu became so pleased with Kardama Muni. Lord Vishnu is having so much feelings. And Lord Vishnu said that this is not the end of it. He was feeling so much pleased with Kardama Muni. He said, Kardama, I am going to appear as your son. Mind it, Shri Kardama Muni never asked for it. He never asked for it. So therefore the question is, that how is it possible that Kardama Muni is asking material desire and Krishna is giving much more than Kardama Muni is asking? He didn't ask for the association of the Supreme Lord. He just wanted to submit himself as an instrument in the Lord's mission, in the Lord's hands. Although he recognized, he was ashamed that he has some mental condition still remaining, and he was working on it, but he had it. So the question is, how could the Supreme Lord become so pleased? Now we can clearly see Kardama Muni is not having zero material desire. She's having a material desire. His worship is mixed with the material desire. So how can the Supreme Lord be so much pleased? That the Lord is so ecstatic. The Lord is saying, oh, I am going to arrange a match. I am going to do everything and I will come as your son. So why? Question is why? How? Why? Why? Why the Lord is behaving? And why the Lord is reciprocating to such an extent? The reason is because Srila Kardama Muni is showing uh, uh, Kardama Muni is epitomizing the example of dedication and dependence despite material desires. Can one conditioned soul serve the Supreme Lord? Yes, Kardama Muni is showing. Can a conditioned soul please the Supreme Lord? Yes, Kardama Muni is showing. Krishna became so pleased. Because Kardama Muni, even though he had, the reason is, even though he had material desire, and he was not able to eradicate it, he was working to eradicate it. Completely, he was not able to eradicate it. And therefore, is taking shelter of the Lord. Now, instead of having material desire, Kardama Muni was absolutely dedicated and was fully dedicated to the Supreme Lord. What is the proof? That he wanted to marry, Kardama Muni did not put his resume in the marriage portal. No. He did not do his photo shoot. No. He did not go and get a job with a high paying salary so that he can get a good resume. No. Uh, yeah, he did not schedule any interviews of profiles and so on and so. He is simply expressing his heart to the Supreme Lord and requesting the Supreme Lord to keep him as an instrument in fulfilling his desire, Krishna's desires and his mission. So immediately after the Supreme Lord goes, Kardama Muni immediately starts his meditation and worship. And he is absorbed. And he is not keeping hold of the time. Hey, how many hours to go? The, the golden day is going to come, and my all, if people are, sometimes dreaming about their marriage, they feel that, okay, flowers are falling from the sky, nightingales are singing, the angels are dancing, it's a heavenly, arrangement of the Supreme Lord, Only in Kardama Muni's case, it was arrangement of the Supreme Lord. It is not there, actually. So, there's, Srila Kardama Muni, was worshipping and meditating the Supreme Lord, and he was absorbed with so much ecstasy, he forgot time. Swambhu Manu also came. Kardama Muni is still absorbed, He's oblivious to the external world, he's just worshipping Krishna, he's meditating on the Supreme Lord, he's absorbed, He had to be shaken up, Then he realized that, okay, something is, so, this is Srila Kardama Muni. Dependence and dedication despite having material desires. Many times, when practicing sadhakas, uh, some of them, so some of the practicing sadhakas, what they do is that when they have material desire, that material desire creates such an obsession that one puts the Krishna consciousness in the background. Because one feels that, oh, I have, like we have had examples of devotees. So they were in voice, they chanting Srinam, and they felt that I need to go for IAS, So better I'll first go to IAS, then I'll pick up, travels, They left voice, Some of them in final year they went because they wanted placement, So they went out to the hostel, They gave up 16 hours, So, so some of them come here, but then they feel that they're missing something in the hostel, So, third, fourth semester only they land back, Like that. So you see, these are all examples. Some of them pass out, When they pass out, they understand, oh, I never tasted the world like I'm tasting now, Because in student life, there's no much taste. Why? Because to have taste, you need money, To have taste, you need money, Need credit card, Like that. Because if you want to do anything, you need to swipe it off here and there, And you need to pay back also, So working life, that opportunity is there. One can buy anything, One can go anywhere. One can talk to anyone. So that kind of freedom is there. Students, that kind of freedom is not there. The parents keep a track, every, hey, we gave you this much money. What did you do with that? So one is, uh, so then money power inflates the material desires like anything, like that. Therefore, many of them they say, okay, Prabhuji, kar liya, bahut bhakti kar liya, abhi thoda sa, we'll get back to you, So we are busy right now. We'll get back to you soon, like that. They're busy in what? Sense gratification, Because the material desires get inflamed. So these are all examples of cases when the practicing sadhaka is putting the spiritual life in background, just for the case of pursuing material desire, you know, like that, just for the case of pursuing material desire. So when I landed up in a job in Pune, so many devotees, 16 orders initiated were telling me that, my dear Prabhu, you have come in a software job, now the industry is very competitive, you know, for 2 years, don't take up any seva. Just focus on work, no? Get one promotion, get very solid fixity, then take up a seva, no? I was wondering, they are preaching, they are anti-preaching, you know? No? I said, come on, Nana, speak this. If you are speaking some gospel, to dare to speak in front of Radheshyam Prabhu, you know? You know? Like that, no? No. I said, no, don't tell to Radheshyam Prabhu. No, we have to be practical, you know? Like that, no? So I understood, you know? So I never followed that. So 2 years, no seva, suicide. 2 years, no service. Can you dream? 2 years, no service, suicide, है ना? Is it not? No book distribution, no preaching, no sankalpa, no utkarsha, no Spurti camp, no cooking, no service. Suicidal, है ना? Willingly eating poison is poisonous. Suicidal, poisonous, like that. So I was very grateful that Krishna gave the good, somehow the good intelligence, and I could actually discriminate and reject those kind of proposals. So these are all examples of devotees. Sometimes they say, "Oh, how can you have that same fervor now? You have to think about your marriage." Kardama Muni, before marriage, after marriage, dedication same. So he expressed a desire to marry, and then he's absorbed in worshipping the Supreme Lord. Now Swayambhu Manu is going to come. So Swayambhu Manu shakes him up, then he comes out of to external consciousness. Then Swayambhu Manu is telling, okay, here I am, and I will like to offer my daughter in marriage in hand, daughter's hand to you. Kardama Muni said, okay, you know. So the marriage ceremony is performed. Kardama Muni is performs the marriage ceremony, and Swayambhu Manu is, and his good wife, they offer blessings to Kardama Muni and Mother Devahuti, and they offer blessings, and then Swayambhu Manu leaves, And Kardama Muni, the ceremony over. As soon as ceremony over, Kardama Muni immediately started meditation, He started worshipping the Supreme Lord, Immediately started meditation. Forgot only somebody is there next to him, So his kutir was there, and he immediately started meditation. He is absorbed, finished. So he just did the marriage, forgot, everything, like that. He was completely, so there it is explained, so you see, Srila Kardama Muni, he did not lower the priority of his spiritual practices, the intensity of his spiritual practices, the fervor of his spiritual practices, simply to get the material desire fulfilled. He did not do anything. Sometimes you've seen even devotees before their marriage, they are seen going to gym, doing some, yeah, 5 kilometer run, so they get a good body, look good looking, very devotees, I'm not talking about non-devotees, like so. Uh, so this is the point that and sometimes we've also seen the devotee gets married, When he was coming for the morning program, services, everything, all of a sudden the devotee is not coming, And then we are asking, hey, where is the devotee? They said, "Arey, Prabhu, he got married, I said, so what, You will not understand, Yeah. So, I said, okay, the marriage happened 2 months back, He said, yeah, just 2 months, no? Yes. Just 2 months, no? You should, I said, okay, when he'll come back for service, So give him 2 years at least to settle. So these are the kind of words I would hear, like that. As in Pune, I would hear these kind of words. I used to feel, my God, what is this married life? It's like, so the point is, these are all examples of basically, for the sake of Krishna consciousness, putting for the sake of material desires, putting Krishna consciousness in the background. The risk is one may never be able to put it in the foreground because we give time slot to Maya. Maya is going to leave us. Maya is going to give it up. Very difficult. Very difficult. So the point is, so therefore, not the other way around. So, so many times, like Vaishnav would say, okay, the devotee, he is ready to go to some Patal Ganga, where 500 miles radius there is no devotee association, like that. Why? Because one is getting some 1 lakh higher salary there, So it's very dangerous examples actually, very dangerous examples. And then if you tell this Prabhu that, my dear Prabhu, what about his spiritual life? I said, no problem, Prabhu. ISKCON is global. No problem. Now YouTube is also there. In COVID time also we took association like that. So they're very dangerous kind of thought process because these are all. Kardama Muni is doing completely opposite. He said, okay, Krishna consciousness, I have, Krishna consciousness is there, right? Solid. No waver in my Krishna consciousness, like that. Now, in and around Krishna consciousness, I am sitting here worshipping the Supreme Lord. Nothing else I am going to do. Nothing else. I am sitting here worshipping the Supreme Lord. Now, if that material desire has been satisfied, if something happens, comes along, as as an added byproduct or as an added secondary thing, then fine. Otherwise, done with it. This was Kardama Muni. So his anchor was not material desire. His heart's anchor was not material desire. And it was not that, okay, so it was not the case that, which is sometimes seen, or commonly seen, that a sadhaka, is holding on to material desire with great obsession. And I said, okay, this material desire is my anchor, this is my pivot, this is my epicenter. And now can Krishna consciousness now get along? Can I adjust things and practice now from here? So Kardama Muni's case is completely different. He said Krishna consciousness is the main thing. I am sit here, stay put, like that. No dilution, no any, this thing. I am, no any dilution, no any contamination, disruption to Krishna consciousness. Now I have some material desire. Oh, I'm not able to get out of it. Okay, can I make some adjust? Can it be adjusted? Material desire be adjusted to my already, existing lifestyle and some space here and there, can fit in, like that. That is what Kardama Muni was doing. His anchor was completely centered on Krishna. That is why Krishna is so pleased with him. That is why the Supreme Lord is so pleased. Now the Supreme Lord is saying, Kardama, not only I will arrange a girl who will support your devotional service, but I will come as your son. He said Lord was crying tears seeing Kardama Muni's dedication because he didn't want it to waver an inch in his dedication and devotional service. And therefore the Supreme Lord arranged everything for him. Therefore, so when there is an arrangement of sense gratification, there is a great risk. Even sense gratification, one may not get. Many times, people years and years and years they try for their marriage and they spend 2 crore rupees for their marriage. In 6 months, it lands up in a divorce. With a 20 lakh one-time suit and 40,000 payment per month for 2 year for 20-30 years. So like that, So this is just this is so much arrangement for material life. Then also sense gratification one has not got. This is the problem with sense gratification. But what is the surety about taking shelter of Krishna? Once back to God is assured. Once ecstasy is assured because there is the spiritual and material needs. When Krishna supplies, it is the best supply. Kardama Muni didn't need to see any horoscope, match, talk, anything, nothing. He said that Krishna is arranging for and the Lord arranged the best of the ladies. So their mother Devahuti is very exemplary in her character as well, because she had a desire to serve Srila Kardama Muni in his devotional service to the Supreme Lord. To what extent? She went to any extent. So Srila Kardama Muni, he got married immediately, forgot that he has a wife. He is just absorbed in perform devotional service, and she started serving him in helping him to. She was a princess. She was not used to the forest life, but she chose that life, because she had a desire to serve and assist Srila Kardama Muni. So it is said that Mother Devahuti was performing so much austerity. She was leading such an austere and tapasya life. She herself became lean and thin and emaciated. She was a princess. Uh, she was helping Kardama Muni in his meditation, in his worship of the Supreme, in his worship of the Supreme. So this is the point. This is the beautiful, beautiful lesson which we can learn. So therefore, when Swayambhu Manu was coming to offer the proposal, to offer the hand of his daughter to propose that, Kardama Muni that time itself hears the proposal, and then Kardama Muni is telling that okay, I am ready to marry. I had a desire to marry. I'm ready to marry, but my condition is, as soon as the first child is born, I am going to go to the forest. I will follow the path of the most perfect beings, that which actually fulfills the mission of one's life, and I'll take sannyas. So this is the first criteria he's mentioning, immediately in front of Swayambhu Manu. Swayambhu Manu agrees to that, then the marriage is made. So therefore, we learn, we learn actually here that uh, uh, how to remain safe and secure and protected in household life. When Bhagavatam is saying place after place that how the family life, materialistic, the family household life is like a deep dark well. Griyam Andakupam. so, so how to safeguard oneself from this deep dark well? We are learning here from Kardama Muni that before entering Grihasthashram, one should have an exit plan ready. Then one is safe in the Grihastha. But if there is a plan to go deeper and deeper and deeper, then one life after life, one may simply get engrossed in the material attachments, which family life can bring about very strong family. So he had an exit plan ready. He had an exit plan ready, and that's being explained. So I remember Surya Niskadam Kanan Maharaj was there in Melbourne, and Maharaj was telling that that uh, uh, that what is a healthy married life, or who's a person healthy consciousness of married life. If one is intoxicated, hey, I'm getting married, I'll enjoy, finish, so many years and decades may pass by, because of that obsession or attachment, intoxication because of that attachment. So Maharaj is saying, when one is Maharaj is saying that healthy consciousness is that the person is getting married, he's doing that round and round around that fire, the yagya, like that, and the person is thinking, when will I get out of this, when will I get out of this, that means he will be able to lead a proper, balanced, spiritually, uh, uh, spiritually dedicated married life. Otherwise, one stands a great risk uh, to get attached to cheap, uh, wife, children, home. अतो गृह क्षेत्र सुता करते. Home, land, wife, children, wealth, then family, friends, following, so on. One stands a great risk to fall trap into that. So, Kardama Muni is having the right consciousness. And now, I say, so Kadam Khan Maharaj was a grihastha for 20 years. So, Kadam Khan Maharaj was a grihastha. So, for 20 years. 20 years is a big period. You know, for a Westerner, for anybody, 20 years is a big period. Good enough period, to be in family life. So, Maharaj was a grihastha for 20 years, married life. So, as a grihastha, he was the temple president of Vrindavan temple. He drove Vrindavan temple through so many problems which Vrindavan was facing. He was shot by a bullet when he was in the washroom. He was so Maharaj was there in Calcutta also, it seems, because he knew Hindi, he knew Bengali. He's a Dutch. You know, he knew Hindi, he knew Bengali. I have heard his Bengali class in Calcutta temples. Went to Pali. I was in second year, third year. Kadam Khan Maharaj. So he knew Hindi, he knew Bengali. Very dedicated, very, very dedicated. So Maharaj is not speaking any theory, Maharaj is not speaking any baseless principles. He has lived it. Maharaj has lived it. And then he said that uh, generally when matchmaking and all, people see photograph, people see the skill set, sometimes people see, okay, how much that lady can earn, sometimes people see, earning power also, some more money can come, more enjoy, like that. Uh, Sometimes they see parent age, okay, father's salary, how much the father can give, one time also and later also, informally, like that, father's salary, like that. Kardama Muni, so Maharaj said that, and then horoscope people test and all that, and then they test so many other algorithms. Maharaj said the first and most important thing which you should see is that whether that girl is attending the morning program 4:30 or not. He said that is the most important criteria. And Maharaj said when I was to get married, then that is what Maharaj saw. That is what the Mataji also saw. And both the candidates attending morning programs. So he said then even if there are fights within the family life, both are serving Krishna, it is perfection. No problem. Like that. Maharaj was saying, And so this is, and we see, so what is Kardama Muni saying? He is telling the Lord only, you choose for me. You choose the best, if you so desire, And but somebody of a like disposition. What was his disposition? His disposition was complete surrender to the Supreme Lord. So the Lord arranged Mother Devahut, who was very, very surrendered, very, very surrendered. And uh, so that is uh, who is very, very surrendered, now we see in Srila Kardama Muni's life, so it is explained that how Mother Devahuti is serving Kardama Muni, with great qualities, with sense control, with great respect and reverence, with great intimacy, you know, uh, Shrambena Gauravena, Shamena Chandamena, this is Vatamadriya Chabo, with sweet words, serving. She herself got emaciated. She, so she completely forgot about herself and her own desires, in serving at the moment. That is the level of service which she was doing. This happened for a long, long time. And at one point in time, Srila Kardamani is realizing that, oh, Devahuti is a princess. and she is used to luxurious life. And she came with me, and here there is nothing, there's so much austerity, like that. And so, uh, so he talked to her, and he said, "What do you desire?" You know, he talked to her. He said, "What do you desire?" Like that. She didn't say anything. Mother Devhuti was happy, you know, but yes, she was not used to that lifestyle. But then she was very enthusiastically serving, So Srila Kardamamuni thought that okay, he'll give her some comforts, a little bit, He thought, he understood he'll give her some comforts, like that. But then look at what he's saying, Mother Devhuti. He is telling that you see, material comforts are not of much use. He's telling Mother Devhuti, because they are all temporary. They can intoxicate and entangle our consciousness also. You know, I will give you the best thing which anyone can give anyone. He said, I will give you the best thing which anyone can offer to anyone, and that is love of God. So, Kardamani, very please look at what he's saying, Mother Devavati. He's saying, I will give you love of God. So, so he's saying, I'll give you the best thing, uh, that which can take you out of this material world, which is the best offering anyone can give to anyone else. Love of God. That is what I will give you. Detachment from the material world, attachment to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. That is what I will give you. And this is what Srila Kardama Muni is giving. So Kardama Muni is actually many times Lord Krishna also acts in such a way. When the Lord furnishes certain material desires or gives some material things, before that he purifies the heart so much so that the devotee doesn't want. I mean, there's no more attached or no more hankering or no more interested in the material objects which are, and then they come. So Kardama Muni is also doing same thing. So you see, he's very perfectly training. It's not that Kardama Muni. Uh, so Kardama Muni's case is not that of a husband who is first of all neglectful. First he neglected, and then first he neglected. So it's not the case that okay, that for a long time he neglected, and then he realized his folly. Now to make up and catch up, he's giving so much of sense gratification back. It's not like that. In the material world, we may see that. Sometimes the husband is working 18 hours, he's just obsessed in his company and working in business and all that. And then, and the wife has to remind, I also exist. Parents have to remind, we also exist. So he hears that and he forgets very soon. So, like that. And then the wife is very frustrated. She's saying, okay, I will break up now. And divorce. She get the divorce people. The husband say, no. Let's go to Switzerland. Let's go to Europe. And then he is making a roam around here, there, so that she's pacified and peaceful, like that. No, Kardamuni is not like that. Kardamuni is very, very responsible. So he is not only providing, he is training her, he's training her, he's elevating her consciousness also. So you see the point. Srila Kardamuni is giving her spiritual instruction, training her, and then he thought of supplying certain comforts. So he created an aerial mansion. This mansion was so it was like an airplane, but it was like a whole city. It had lakes, it had gardens, it had a seven-storied building. He arranged for 1,000 maid servants, 1,000. Some Gandharva ladies, Gandharva lady, 1,000 maid servants for Mother Devakut. And he, by his powers, he arranged that Mother Devahuti takes dip in the lake, or which was that lake? And then she regains her luster, bodily, the physical luster, like that. So he arranged everything for Mother Devahuti. And in that aerial mansion, uh, so that aerial mansion had the power to roam around everywhere in the universe, and he was showing her various planets like that. That was Kardamuni. So when he was supplying, he was supplying. So there it is explained, the acharyas are explaining that one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, What can that person not do? What can that person not do? So now, when this being the case, the kind of opulence which Kardama Muni showed and demonstrated and gave, that is superlative. No comparison to that. Even Swayambhu Muni would not have given that much opulence. Yeah. So this we see in Saubiri Muni's case also. And Saubiri Muni is giving opulence to the 50 daughters of Mandhata. Now the king Mandhata. Mandhata is getting complex. Mandhata is an inferiority complex. Mandhata is saying, hey, I don't have that much opulence. At this stage, he's having, for each of the 50 daughters, he gave them one palace, which was more opulent than Mandhata's palace. Because it was Sobiri Muni, by his power. So you see, yes, Sobiri Muni was completely intoxicated. Is another story. He was completely intoxicated and obsessed. He forgot about Krishna. So he got frustrated later, and then he came back to Krishna consciousness, fervor. But Kardama Muni is never callous towards his spiritual intensity. So, and that's why you see Krishna giving so much blessings, Lord Vishnu giving so much blessings. So, so it's explained that now the Acharyas are saying that a devotee of the Lord, one who was taking shelter of the one who was grabbing and catching hold of the lotus feet of the Lord in his heart, what can such a person not do if he so desires to do it? And therefore, Prabhupada explains in one lecture. Prabhupada says that generally devotees are not interested in material affairs. So they don't want to waste time. But Prabhupada says if the devotee so decides, whatever be the reason, the mission or whatever, whatever be the reason, if the devotee so decides to take up any material direction, and, then the devotee can do it to such a degree that nobody else in the creation can match it. Because one is a devotee of the Lord. The devotee so decides to embark on any material trajectory. The devotee can do it to such a level of perfection that it can create such a record that nobody can break, nobody can match. And then Prabhupada, to give an example to this, the Prabhupada is quoting that you see the greatest warriors, heroes in the history of creation have been in the two great battles of the Vedic times, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. Arjuna and Hanuman. Arjuna and Hanuman have been the greatest heroes and warriors, and both are Mahabhagavad devotees of the Lord. Because they so decided to fight, they fought in such a way that nobody could match. So Prabhupada is quoting that. And so we see here the Acharyas are extolling and the Acharyas are glorifying. Kardama Muni, and the Kardama Muni created such an opulence, nobody can do. So wherever Prabhupada quotes about Yoga Siddhis, Prabhupada quotes the example of Kardama Muni. He says, look at Kardama Muni, what kind of, in modern day they are making what airplane they can make. Kardama Muni made an airplane where there was no, which was seamlessly flying. Not that no? Like that, not that way, not horse riding, no? It was seamlessly flying any planet. And that airplane, here we don't, they want to give little leg space. They ask for $300-400 for that. Yeah, you know, uh, Melbourne to Calcutta. No, that Air Asia $350, Singapore Airlines $700. What is the difference? Little more leg space. No? So not like that. It had lakes. It had gardens. It had showers. Everything it had. And water stock. Oh, the prasad bhi to rahega, na? The whole vegetation is happening. Not just prasad. Not just stored. Not just cleaned, stored. Like that. Growing fresh. Like that. Wonderful. So that was, and by whose mercy, by whose power? Krishna's power. And then Prabhupada would always say, see, if a human being can do so much, How can Krishna do his Yogeshwara? No? So Prabhupada always gives the example of Kardama Muni, and he has to speak about yogi, what can a yogi do? What is the power of a yogi? Kardama Muni, superlative example he showed, हम ऐसे वाव ठीक है तब तो भक्ति करना चाहिए क्या आगे कुछ तो करके दिखाएंगे लाइक दैट वाव Kardama Muni good example so the point is now Acharya has explained here that now one may say अरे हवा लग गई क्या the Kardama Muni is appearing to be enjoying so much sense gratification that ये तो वही हो गया धर्म अर्थ काम है ना वही the regular cycle of dharma artha kam dharma for artha and kam Kardama Muni appears to be having so much sense gratification now so much enjoyment so much opulence one may say अरे ये क्या हो गया where is the did Kardama Muni did he fall down is it a fall down he is enjoying so much the Acharya has explained that Kardama Muni even being surrounded with so much opulence and everything he did not lose his greatest asset or his greatest asset. And what was his greatest asset? Mastery over his own self. Kardama was absolutely mind and sense controlled even amidst all that opulence. Absolutely mind and even though he was surrounded, he said he gained mastery over his own self. He did not lose his asset, the prime asset. The prime factor in our resume is not that we are IIT qualified. Bhagavatam doesn't acknowledge. Adam said the prime asset is mind and sense control. Is it not? Mastery, So not master of science, but master of mind and sense control. You know? Not MSc, M square SC. Hmm? Not MSc, M square SC. Master of mind and sense control. That is a degree. The topmost degree which Bhagavatam now recognizes, which the entire cosmic creation recognizes, is not M square SC, master of mind and sense control, the topmost degree. Kardama Muni was completely fixed in that. Now one may say then why Kardama Muni is risking or he's trying out algorithms of surrounding himself with so much maya. So one reason we understand because he felt that okay he can give some comforts to Mother Devahuri. That is something which is understandable. But one may say, फिर भी, Mother Devotee is satisfied with nothing. A person who is satisfied with nothing, a little bit you give such a person will be ecstatic. Ecstatic means, that is also good enough. Why so much? He just didn't give little bit. He gave everything. No, nobody gets that much. People run for sense gratification, they don't get this much opulence, which Kardama is giving. So there is another reason. Now, which understanding which we can understand that why Kardama Muni was not intoxicated. No, Maya is so strong. It is not that great devotees don't get intoxicated. Maya is very strong. So therefore, the lesson is don't play with Maya. Kardama Muni is unaffected. But you see, this is not the case. Priyavrat Maharaj got affected. He got completely, he was also Mahabhagavat, Maharaj Priyavrat. And he was told by Brahmaji to marry. Not that he himself had a material desire to marry. He was sannyasi, he was having a nice time. Brahmaji gave him instruction just to honor Brahmaji's words, and the universe needed a ruler. He married. A ruler cannot be without marriage. That's the Vedic process. So he married, but he got intoxicated to mundane sense enjoyment, like that. Obviously, because he's such a great devotee, he came out very soon, like that. But he did got intoxicated. And that is why his son was a mixed devotee, not a pure devotee. Maharaj Agnidhara. And the reason is because Priyavrat Maharaj was got a bit lost in sense gratification, so to say, for the moment. That time Agnidhara Maharaj was born. Agnidhara Maharaj, therefore, is having karmakanda kind of mindset. You see in Bhagavatam it comes, like that. And the Acharyas give the reason why. But Kardama Muni unaffected. Why? So because his consciousness would not be to enjoy. So the other reason is that why did he create so much opulence? The other reason is because he knew that the Supreme Lord is going to appear. Srila Kardama Muni was well knowing. Mother Devavati may or may not be knowing. And we don't know. I mean, Bhagavatam doesn't mention did he reveal to her or did he not reveal to her. When did he reveal to her? Bhagavatam doesn't mention about that, so we cannot speculate. But Kardama Muni was very clearly knowing because the Lord himself told, I am going to come. So he knew that the Lord is going to come. And what is devotional service? Opulence for Krishna. No. So, so did Kardama Muni create opulence for himself? No, because if it was so, he would have been lost and intoxicated. At least for some time, because he was such a great devotee, he might have come out at least for some time, but he was not at all affected. Why? That means his consciousness is completely spiritual. No? That means that he was preparing for the Lord's. You know, the Lord cannot take birth I mean, the Lord can take birth anywhere, but the devotee doesn't will not tolerate that the Lord takes birth in a dilapidated, shabby, kuti. Uh, in a dilapidated, shabby kuti. No food, no any shade. It would be something translated to. Kardama Muni's kutir. So he arranged a very nice palatial mansion, aerial mansion. You know, that is where the Lord appeared. So Kardama Muni had 9 daughters, and then the Supreme Lord appeared. So he had 9 daughters, all were born of the same. Uh, yes, nine, 9 daughters. They were born at the same time, and then the Lord came. The 9 daughters he gave to 9 rishis, different rishis he gave. So yeah, he had 9 daughters. And then the Lord appeared. So Kardama Muni was paving the way for the Supreme. That is why it is said that Kardama Muni was not at all affected. Not at all affected. He was not at all affected by all this opulence. So that's a proof that that means he's having spiritual consciousness. And what is spiritual consciousness? That means he created that opulence for uh, created that opulence for Krishna. He was preparing for the birth of the Supreme Lord. So he created that opulence for Krishna. And what is one may say, okay, but I mean, uh, uh, now what is the next proof for this is what that Kardama Muni was, now Kardama Muni, what is the next proof? The next proof is Kardama Muni. Now when Lord Kapil Dev appeared, Kardama Muni stayed a bit because it was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has come. So he stayed a bit, like that. But till the time the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Kapil Dev, was young enough, grown up, grown up. And then Kardama Muni, as soon as he understood the Supreme Lord is now grown up, and immediately, he made up his mind now I have to leave. I need to renounce. I need to go to the forest. So this is the point that this is the point which we see. Kardama Muni is that means he is always ready to leave. That means where was he attached? Because he was always ready to leave. So he had an exit plan, to remember, and he followed that plan. You know. The delay in the plan is because the Supreme Lord himself appeared. So that's why, one may say, the Supreme Lord has come to you. Where you are going to go? Is it not? So, but then one may say that okay, then you would have continued, staying in the association of Lord Kapil Dev. No, but because he wanted to set an example, he left. Because in his case, Supreme Lord actually came, But in many people's case, they only imagine, that my son is like Krishna, or, yeah, no? or, no? My son is also a great devotee, My son is a great, a representative with proper mission, or, son, daughter, whatever, like that, so, like one devotee was telling, my son will become a sannyasi, like that. This is before the son came, like that, and so I was in Melbourne. He was saying, my son will become a sannyasi, like that, Now, Bhagavatam doesn't too much focus on this aspect, That okay, my son, I will make a sannyasi. Bhagavatam says first, you think about yourself first, what about you? You work about yourself. What are you? No, don't give post-dated checks, like that. But the devotee is having consciousness, the good consciousness. I mean, nothing wrong in that consciousness. Okay, I will make my son into sannyasi, son will become sannyasi, like they'll assist in proper mission, will be an asset to proper mission. It's a good consciousness, nothing wrong in that. But this is much before the son came, like that, And then I was so I was in India. I called him up. I said, okay, so how is it going? Mataji, how is it going in her pregnancy and all that? He was looking very morose, This, the child had still not come. I said, why are you morose, He said, no, we did that. What is this called? This huh? Ultrasonography, that the stomach they do, something round, ultrasonography. So in Australia, it's allowed. India is not allowed, So he understood. Yeah, in Australia, gender revelation is allowed. India, it's not allowed, So legally, it's allowed, So they did that ultrasonography first time. So I understood it's not a son which is coming, So it was very morose. Ooh, those is crying, He said, oh, our daughter is coming, like that. And then later he was telling my daughter will become Gopi, so, so many times there is a lot of tendency to imagine various things like that I mean, it's good to offer that kind of training, but one of the examples of offering that kind of training is to show an example of that kind of dedication. Prabhupada wanted his son to become a pure devotee, but Prabhupada's father wanted his son to become a pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. But he showed an example of a pure devotee also. He showed an example of a pure devotee also, and that is one of the foundational aspects of devotee parenting. He showed an example of a pure devotee, and Prabhupada got it. Prabhupada got it and caught it. And then he later taught it. So that was the point. So now, therefore, to set an example, Kardama Muni is following his vows. You have the point. Kardama Muni is following his vows. So he stayed a bit because the Supreme Lord is personally there, but still he went because he wanted to set that example. He wanted to set the example. So so one day Kardama Muni is the Lord Kapil Dev is sitting, and then Kardama Muni comes to him and he says, "Okay, my dear Lord, I have done my duties. Now, please give me permission. To follow in the path of the Paramahamsas. And just be completely dependent on you, or it's completely be absorbed in your holy glories, and the Lord gives him blessing. Lord Kapil Dev gives him blessing, and then he leaves, in the dead of the night, Mother Devotee knew he is leaving, So even though her heart was shattered, Mother Devotee, her heart is shattered, and then Kardama Muni is leaving, heart is shattered, like that. But still, externally, she was smiling, So even at that time, her consciousness let me serve him very nicely, Smiling, she was, sending him off, like that. So she had asked him before he was leaving that, Mother Devotee is saying that I did not take benefit of your saintliness. I was just attached on a bodily or on a superficial platform. Now, this is not the case exactly, but Mother Devotee, out of her humility, is she's saying that. And I have been simply just remain attached to you, and I did not take benefit much of your spiritual realizations and all that. What is going to happen to me? Ramani is just smiling. He says, your son will take care, He's taking care of me, he'll take care. He's the Supreme Lord, he'll take care. Nothing to worry. So, so your son is not SON son, he's SUN son. Like that, he'll take care, and the whole third canto is the take care. So yeah, so if you want, so the Supreme Lord, he our so it is said that Kardama Muni went to the forest, the blessings of the Lord, and Kardama Muni is and then Kardama Muni is completely dependent on the Supreme. He's just meditating on the Supreme Lord. He lost, completely oblivious to the entire physical surroundings. It is said that he stopped all bodily activities. He was meditating on the Supreme Lord to such a superlative degree. It is said that his mind, was completely peaceful and unagitated, just like an ocean, So just like an ocean which has turned inwards, any number of rivers are coming and all, ocean not agitated. His mind had completely, he completely lost uh, consciousness about any external reality. He had gone completely inward, and he was simply remembering the Supreme Lord in that state of mind. He left his body, perfected his life. He's perfected his life. And therefore, Acharyas say that Kardama Muni is a perfect example of a person whose main priority, overwhelming priority in life was Krishna consciousness. Whichever situation he had to traverse through, he travels through different material situations, but he's an example of a person whose only priority in life is Krishna consciousness. And he happens to be riding on material lanes. That was Kardama Muni. And that is exactly how every householder, every grahastha should write. Then spiritual world, the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, and eternal servitude to the Supreme Lord is guaranteed. Is guaranteed. And they can see. So so that is the point. Therefore, we are learning that amazing lesson that dedication is not dependent on material conditionings. Spiritual fervor is not dependent on material conditionings. One may be very fallen, one may have oceanic conditioning, but still one can be very dedicated to the Supreme Lord. We can understand through Kardama Muni, Srila Kardama Muni's life. He did not dilute his spiritual practices even by a drop. And everything was supplied. He got the best of the ladies. Mother Devavati was very beautiful also. Not that she was, she was very beautiful also. His, very, very beautiful also, Mother Devavati. And her character, what a character, she's an acharya. So dedicated, so dedicated. What kind of opulences, And the Supreme Lord is giving. He's giving the opulence. He's giving Krishna, So he's giving himself also, the Lord himself came also. So, the Kardama Muni is clearly able to show the greatest opulence is Krishna. And if one has that consciousness, even though one may be surrounded with material objects, it is possible to remain unaffected. So many times in our preaching mission also, even as renunciates, brahmachari sannyasis are staying in cities, our temples are no less than palaces. Govindas is no less than, our temple kitchens are very opulent also, and traveling in flights and so on and so forth. So how can one remain unaffected? Kardama Muni is showing the way. How can one remain unaffected? When one is steadfast on that prime goal, uh, of completely dependent on the Supreme, completely dependent on the Supreme. So one's heart, one's obsession, one's mind, is completely absorbed in the Lord and the mission of the Lord. Such a person now may be traversing through material trajectories, may be surrounded by material opulence, but that is not at all in the head of the devotee. Yeah. One may be eating, not even conscious of what is being eaten, like that. So, but the only consciousness is completely absorbed in the mission of the Lord, the mission of the spiritual mind. So that's kind of example that Muni showed actually. And role model example, which every devotee can follow, and every grahastha should follow that example of dedication. Do we have any questions? Yes. See that the person is having some difficulty who wants to learn as soon as he gets, but don't need was having a real desire. But after he completed the material desire, there was no desire to learn. What kind of material desire? Hmm. Uh, yes. So, uh, no, uh, definitely, it is not just out of humility. Kardama is saying he wanted to marry, like that. So he did marry, But he then he said, okay, he did. No, if he married, but then why did not he go for honeymoon and all that? No? Now, sometimes people say, no, honeymoon package or whatever, no. So why he did not do all kind of romantic pursuits and all? So, so probably because he married, he was conscious that I have married and I may land up in a trap. So he wanted to gain some more spiritual momentum. No? So that's why he was going on with his fervor for some time. And then he did arrange facilities. He did arrange facilities, for hmm? He did arrange facilities. Actually, he was a Prajapati. Kardama Muni. The background is he is a Prajapati. So Lord Brahma had instructed him for progeny. So Lord Brahma had given him instructions for progeny. Now, the Prajapatis, Brahmaji wanted to help them, and Brahmaji wanted to, so Brahmaji's many sons, he interested them for progeny. So some of the Prajapatis, they gave birth to the aquatic species, to the snake species, to the various species, different Prajapatis. They did that. They married and they produced. Bhagavatam mentions who, which couple produced, which species, like that, for progeny. And that's how the species came into existence. Different species came into existence. Now, like Daksha is also Prajapati. Daksha is so many, sons. Narmani, makes them sannyasis. The Riyashwas and the Shwalakyas. 10,000, 11,000. 10,000 in first lot and 1,000 in the second. So, so that, so now the thing was, if you try to see, it was a service to have progeny also. And it was a service because Brahmaji had told him, but Acharya, but it is explained, Prabhupada explains that in the purport there, that actually Kardama Muni did not want to produce hundreds and thousands of children simply to fill the vacancies which were there in the universe. He wanted to produce high quality children. He wanted to produce children who were most dedicated to the Supreme Lord, as dedicated as him. The Lord says, don't worry, I'll make so, so therefore he wanted, very, and that is why he was very intense in his spiritual practice. So it is not that he was not having desire of progeny. It is not that he was not having any desire for a family life, because he did fulfill that. But he wanted to ensure that he do not get affected by it, and that is why he was very strong and pakka in his spiritual life. His spiritual life. Can you say that his desire was using his father? Yes, that was also there. So therefore, later Lord Brahma is also the Lord Brahma is actually thanking him that, my dear Kadama, I'm very pleased with you, Lord Brahma, because you respected my words. So he did not produce too many, children. I mean, too many, but he did produce children. The 9 daughters and Lord Kapil Dev, like that. So he did produce that. So it was Lord Brahmaji. But spiritually, even if he would have not fulfilled Lord Brahmaji's desire, that was okay because he was surrendering to Krishna. Because the four Kumaras, also were instructed by Brahmaji to produce children. They said, no, 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 but we'll only remain children. I don't you only remain children. So Brahmaji was a bit angry at that. But then they became Mahabhagavats. So they were Mahabhagavad devotees, the Chatush Kumaras, like that. So Kardama Muni could have gone on that track also, like that, but he did honor the words of Brahmaji. Uh, so he chose to have. So we cannot say that he had no material desire. Otherwise, if there's no material desire, there's no need to marry. It's very simple. There was a desire, like that. And therefore, you see, Kardama is not asking the Lord to come. Did he ask? He did not ask. That means that was not there in his heart. That is Krishna's free gift. Krishna gave himself. Krishna said, okay, I'll be free gift. Like that. Because Krishna saw that he is, although he's having a desire. So what is the proof that he has a desire? He did not ask the Supreme Lord as his son. He didn't ask the Supreme Lord to come as his son. He just said that I want a wife. If you so desire, who is like-minded, who is also dedicated to spiritual. And I know I'm very ashamed that I'm asking this material desire from you, but where else I can go? That was his consciousness. What else I can do? I can simply worship you, nothing else I can do. If you so desire, you can, that's what Kardama Muni is depending. So he had a desire, but he was dependent on the Supreme. And he was just ensuring that he had spiritual priority. So we cannot say that, okay, there was no material desire. No, then there was no need. Then he could have gone on the track of Chatush Kumaras. He had a desire. He's admitting that. She's honest enough to admit that. Like that. He had it. So therefore he had, and therefore even the family affairs and progeny was very very elaborately, nice, comfortable place, not just get done with it, like that. So, but he did not lower down his spiritual priorities for anything. That's what he. So, yeah, that's why his example not just is not just valid for a sannyasi or a no, brahmachari. His example is valid for a grihastha, because he was an ideal grihastha. Yes. Yeah. So material desires are very, very strong. They don't go away so easily, And it's not that 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, 10 years, and will become pure duty. So material desires are very, very intense. So it doesn't go away so easily. It doesn't go away so easily, like that. It requires great struggle, you know. Uh, uh, and that great struggle is also not sufficient. Only when that great struggle attracts great mercy of the Supreme Lord, then only it's possible that that material desire will be completely vanquished. Otherwise, that is why it is said that we have to be very, very careful. One can even fall down from very elevated spiritual platform. Bharat Maharaj fell down from the platform of Bhava. So from the platform of Bhava, one can fall down. Then we are in a very risky place. One has to be very, very dedicated. So material desire doesn't go away so easily. Very strong. Very, very strong. Okay, let's stop here for today. Bhagavatam ki jai.